Hello, listeners. Welcome to our 8th episode of our brand new 6th season of Mind Your Business podcast. My name is Mia Gomez.
My name is Daniel Mata, and we will be the hosts for this episode. We want to give a special shout out to Studio G, powered by the Mike Loya Center for Innovation and Commerce, where we help current UTEP students and recent alumni build their own businesses. Be your own boss.
In today's episode, we have the pleasure to have Sandra Morales, who is the founder and CEO of the League of Business. So welcome, Sandra.
Hey, hi, you guys. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about some business and entrepreneurs.
Can you give us like a little background as to like who you are and what is it that you do?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, my name is Sandra Morales. I was born in Juarez, and I have 20 years. My first 20 years I was living over there, and then the other 20 years I was here. So I have 50% of my life in Juarez and 50% of my life here. And it's been a transition. It's a very interesting transition as an active entrepreneur that I have always been. So when I came to live in El Paso, I started to look for, groups and chambers of commerce and all these sorts of organizations so I could build my networking here, so I could build my business here as well. And I found it to be interesting and so very difficult. First of all, I didn't speak English that well. And I didn't know how to do business here. So it was a complete change of life for me. So after like 5 years, let's say, of researching and doing my own thing, I started to write down like, okay, what is it that I look for in a group, in a club, in an organization for entrepreneurs just like me, the Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs that maybe are not exactly into learning English, because let's face it, it's not exactly easy. So I said, okay, there's a lot of people like me, and I'd like to know what is it that we need in order to not give up. Because it's easier to give up. It got to a point where, you know what, that's it. I'm just gonna focus my business and myself in Juarez. Y hasta ahí. I mean, it gets frustrating, but I started to doing this, and sooner or later, I don't know, 2 years maybe, I was in the position of starting this group, which was the Ladies of Business Club first, and with the years, I added the Gentlemen of Business Club. And now we are a league, the League of Business, and we have the Real Entrepreneurs magazine, the podcast. We also do international trips. We've been to Egypt, we've been to Peru, we've been to Italy, Rome. And oh my gosh, it's been such great journey. I actually stopped doing what I was doing back then, which is I am a jewelry designer. I stopped designing. I also developed my own brand of herbal products. I stopped doing that as well. So my 100% project right now is the League of Business and all the projects around it. So yeah, that's a bit of my background.
That is so interesting. And it's so fun that you mentioned Peru, because I was there for
really?
spring break. So I'm just like barely getting back. It's so lovely.
Cool. Right. Did you go to Machu Picchu?
Yes.
Oh,
it was
gosh.
one of my mom's like dreams to go there. So and it was in her bucket list. So it was.
Tell
really
me something. Did you have like a revelation or an enlightenment while you were there? Because
yes,
it happens.
Really? Like it was really mind blowing. Like we can talk about it like
Oh,
outside the
yes,
podcast. But it was crazy. It was.
That is so cool.
Sandra, can you tell our audience what was the story behind you founding the League of Business, and what inspired you to create the bilingual movement back in 2018?
Well, definitely the struggle for me was speaking English, both Spanish and English, because it's like 50% of your connections, of your new clients, and it's very important to speak both languages, but also it's very important for organizations to actually be inclusive with people who doesn't speak both languages, either Spanish or English. So what I do, I have in mind that I have to embrace everybody and make you feel right and at home, and with a confianza, ¿cómo se dice confianza? With all the, just, you can come and make friends and make connections regardless if you speak English or not, because someone will help you over there. I will help you over there. So for me, it was like very frustrating, and I was like, no, this can't be happening. Something must be done. And so I did. Took me years, but I did. And I'm super proud of it, because there's we have like 40 members, and probably a few don't speak Spanish and another few don't speak English. but still everybody's happy, everybody's just following their own path, and that is rewarding for me.
And how has the League of Business evolved since its inception? Like from then up until now, like what
Oh,
has it
wow.
become now?
Wow. Well, let me tell you, we started in 2018 with the Ladies of Business Club. That was the first launching that we did. And in my mind, I said, okay, I have to open up the club for the boys, but maybe in 5 years or so, that was the plan. But it happened in 2 years, right after we launched the Ladies of Business Club, because even though it was the Ladies of Business Club, the events and the gatherings were open to all entrepreneurs. So we started having guys asking for, hey, and when is the Gentlemen of Business Club coming up? And they started asking and asking so often. So I was like, okay, I won't be able to wait for 5 years. So I launched it 2 years after. And it was a transition again, because believe it or not, it's like we're not exactly prepared to change. We're always like against it, believe it or not. And it was a bit of friction, like, oh no, we shouldn't, or yes, we should. And so it was a tough decision, but I knew it was the right decision. So because I really think that both energies, female and masculine energies, need each other to progress. I don't know how you say that, but to progress. And it was needed. I didn't want to just keep up with one club for ladies or just one for boys. We needed to become a league. We needed to bond. We needed to help each other, which is the purpose of it. So once we had 2 clubs, I decided to make it a league, because I didn't want to have the clubs separated. So I said, okay, you know what? Let's tie them together under a league. And that's what we are today. And under the league, we could have the Real Entrepreneurs magazine and the podcast and everything else. So at the end, I really think it was a great decision and good timing.
And like let's say I'm an entrepreneur and I wanna join your club, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you usually like give people like advice that want to join your club? Like what do you do like whenever they join the club?
So if you are an entrepreneur or an entrepreneurial enthusiast, because you don't really have to have a business already, but you are all into that entrepreneurial movement and you say, hey, I want to become a club member, we have a system. You just go to the website, you fill up the form, which is almost the very first button that you will see there. And this is a form, an interest form or a membership request, where you put, well, what is it that you do? What is your project, current project or future project about? You leave your social media so we can actually go look up and see that you are, first of all, a person, and then an entrepreneurial enthusiast or something like that. So we kind of verify that. And after that, we either call you or text you or send you an email saying, welcome in advance. And of course, you have to pay your fee, which is $300 per year. And once you pay that, then we include you in all the chats and the groups and everything. You're in.
That's incredible. And Sandra, I wanted to ask you, because I know you told, well, you already spoke about the transition of being only focused on women to like now including men.
Yes.
So I'm curious to hear about what challenges did you face during those times and how did you overcome those problems?
What changes?
Yes, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Challenges. Well, resistance was the first one, because we were around 20 something ladies that were members. And of course, it wasn't a question. It was just an announcement. But still, I want to see and know, what do you think? What do you think? And there you see how, well, this is going to hurt, but close-minded we are.
Yes.
Like, oh, no, it's going to change everything. That's not going to be good. Everything will be so different. And so the main challenge is resistance, and also to have so many people in the same club and not have problems, like not have friction and not have competition. That is a challenge for the League of Business and myself, like every day, because that's exactly something that I don't want to have, because there's a lot of it already everywhere else. So that is a challenge as well. But I think I know exactly how I want this to run. And I know the position of the entrepreneur, because I've been there. I know how hard it is. I know how how we think, and how sometimes you say, okay, I'm gonna make this competition with this other person and I'm gonna be the best. I know how we think sometimes, but I also know that that's not the answer, and that's not even the easiest way. I mean, there's plenty of space for all of us. So having everybody, well, not exactly 100% happy, but in good relationship and camaraderie, that's a challenge. But I enjoy having it every day, though.
No, and it's so interesting that you mentioned that, because I also believe that like there's space for everyone,
Uh-huh.
and it's better. I think you progress like way more when you support others and just like being like, oh, I'm gonna like beat you to it.
Exactly right.
So it's incredible. And do you guys do like socials, or how did you create that balance so that there's healthy competition, not like rivalry? Yeah.
Well, one of the fundamentals of the League of Business is self-development and leadership. And this, if you think about it, is talking about yourself. Like, you are your own leader. You are an entrepreneur. That means that you are your own thing. So whatever you need to succeed is already in you. You don't really need to copy someone else. I mean, of course, we all get ideas because, come on, we live here. We're all entrepreneurs. But you have your own taste. You have your own purpose. So even if we decide to do the same, I'm sure the purpose is not going to be the same, because my purpose comes from my story. Your purpose is from your story. So if you look at it that way, how can it be the same? How can I compete with you and your story and your purpose when I have mine? And it's for sure very different. So that is how I've been kind of striving everything to go well. But yes, I think that's something very important. If you're sure of who you are and what your talents are and what you want to do, I don't think you'll have competition, and I don't think you have to fight with anybody. Just make sure you know when to leave I don't know, a person, a relationship, a contact. It's important to know when to say, okay, this is not good for me, or I don't like it that much. Bye-bye. And that's it. That you're good if you do that.
I love that.
Now, there's a topic that has like usually come up in quite a few of our episodes now, which is failure, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any like experience in failure?
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course. We have a lot of experiences, failures. So yeah, and this is something that I also like to say, because everybody, when you see maybe, oh, the League of Business, and they've been doing this since 5 years now, and they certainly know what to do, and they do it all nice and great, and everything is perfect. And maybe you think, yeah, well, because maybe the founder, she has an easy life and whatever, so it's easier for them or something like that. Our mind works like that. But no, actually, it's not. It's because of all the failures that I had, let's say, when I came to El Paso, that I was failing so hard every time with what I was already doing over there. And because of that failure, I got the inspiration to, okay, let's do something else, and let's also help others not to feel like this, because I cried. I mean, oh my gosh. Quick story. I was a jewelry designer, right? So I came to El Paso, and in Juarez, I was used to do this seasonal selling, because I didn't have a boutique. So I had these events, and I was selling like 200 pieces of jewelry every time, and everybody was waiting for those events to happen. And it was super cool, super nice, a lot of money there. But I came here, and on my first event that I did, I got like 5 guests. 5 guests, you guys. I was like, what? So I had more staff than guests. And I was like, oh my gosh, that day was the biggest failure of them all here in El Paso. Like, oh, I should really just quit. So that's one of the failures. But in the League of Business and the process of all this, I have had failures as well, because all the projects that you see that we have that are, I don't know, maybe 5, 8, 10, I don't know. But it's been more than those projects that I have had in my mind, and I have launched many projects, and not all of them really pick up. Not all of them are really going to happen. And you have to learn that, okay, I put so much effort in this, and I tried and I pushed and it didn't happen. Okay, let it go. That's fine. You'll come back to it later, maybe. And if not, it wasn't meant to be. Move over. There's something else. There's more to do. So yeah, failure, you have to be one with it. You have to embrace failure and just say, okay, we tried. We'll do it again later. And that's it.
And that's very interesting that you mentioned that as well, because like for us, when, for example, we have different programs within the center, right? We have
Uh-huh.
Blackstone and Studio G. I can talk specifically for Studio G when it barely started, like in 2020. We got the pandemic, so we had to
Oh.
like switch everything like virtual, and we used to do like events called coffee hours. It was like a very like new project that we had,
Uh-huh.
and we got like 3 guests.
Oh.
5 guests, and we're like, oh my. But now like we have events and
Yeah.
we have 20, 30 students like attend, and it's like, wow, like you
Exactly.
start growing, and
Yes.
it's
yes,
just like
yes.
perseverance, I guess, to
Uh-huh.
just keep trying and
Yeah. Now imagine
testing.
that is your business. Imagine that was your business, and you
Right.
have no friends that are entrepreneurs, and you have nobody to call and say, "Hey, help me, please."
Yes.
That is a situation that will make you say, "You know what? This was a very not good idea, so I'm gonna just move over, and that's it." And you get
Right.
disappointed, and then you just throw the towel, and that's it. But the league of business, what it does, it's like you're gonna tell us, like, "Hey, I had this event, and it was great or bad, or come help me," and you'll find at least advice. I mean, it's not like the league of business will be your most returning customers, because that's not the point. But you'll have friends, you'll have other people who has been through the same, and will say, "Hey, don't worry, keep it up, keep it up." I mean, you'll pick up, and that is such a good. I don't know. That's something I would have loved to have when I came here, and that's why I'm doing it, and that's why it gets me so much joy, because I know it'll help you or someone else.
No, it's great. And I have another question for you, Sandra, and
Mhm.
it's, so basically we help a lot of student entrepreneurs, and one of the things that they really struggle is financial security, like when they're
Mhm.
starting their own business. So we're curious about how you were able to secure the bag for you to
Right.
start your projects and your
Uh-huh.
business.
Well, what you can do is, first of all, know your resources. What are your resources? If you already have, I don't know, you want to do a magazine, right? And you're a student, well, maybe start getting to know the guys here in marketing and printing and design. Maybe create your own team with friends, so everybody will contribute something to this project, and not necessarily you guys will have to pay each other, but it's going to be like a joint effort. And maybe you can start with that, because you have a lot of resources. You can come to YouTube and say, "Hey, please lend me this space for a podcast, because I'm going to launch this project," and start like, you don't really have to have a big investment to start, to figure out what you want to do and see if it's something that you will actually like to invest in. So I would say do it low cost at first, and try it, and don't get disappointed. And then if you see, okay, this is something that I would really like to do, how can I get money out of it? In the case you don't have money to invest, right? And then you have to be creative. How can I get money out of this? And write it down and go through it one over and again, and try and do. And if this doesn't work, maybe something else will work. So keep writing it down, and find the way, the creative way, to get the funding or get the money out of that, in order to build it by itself. That is something super good to do, because you don't get involved into banks and things like that. And of course, whenever you want to do it bigger, you have to have the background that all these will already give you. And you'll have, okay, I start with this and this and then that, and then I move to this and I grow this much. And maybe whomever is gonna invest in you will see all that as a background. And it's not like, "Oh, I have this idea, please give me $10,000. Like, what, is that your idea? Instead of, "Hey, I had this idea like 5 years ago, and I've been developing myself with my team, with this, with that, and this is the projections, and now I need $10,000 to the next step." And then maybe investors will say, "Okay, you're proving what you're doing, and you have been doing it without resources, so that's valuable." And of course, once you start creating or making your own money out of it, well, keep the records, and just get. I'm not the one to tell you how to do that, but go to an expert on finances, so you can have a nice relationship with the banks. For whenever you need to ask for a loan, it's easier for you, and all that you have done since the beginning will count. So start with the basics. Don't get frustrated. Just start.
That's perfect. And Sandra, could you share with our audience your socials? Where can they find you? Where can they listen to your podcast? The name of your magazine, everything.
Yes, of course. So it is the League of Business, is the LOB, because, the League of Business. You can go to the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. It's under the LOB Club, the LOB Club. All of our social media is the same. And then the website, if you go to the website, you'll find everything in there. Just go to thelobclub.com. And you'll see different spaces over there for the magazine, the blog, the events, everything. So if you go there, you'll find everything else. All the social media is connected, and it's going to be easier if you just go there, thelobclub.com. And, let us, join us. Yay. And that's the first edition, let me tell you. Oh, that's yours, guys.
Okay.
About to launch the second edition on, I think it's going to be the 26th of April. You're more than invited to join us.
Oh, that's exciting. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. And also, thank you so much, Sandra, for accepting our invitation to the podcast. It was truly an honor to have you. And I can tell you that your energy is so lovely. Like, even when we just met 15 minutes ago, it was great. Like, I feel that I've known you for a long time. So it's really great that you have.
Thank you.
I
appreciate it.
Studio G, the Michael Loya Center for Innovation and Commerce, and the Blackstone Launchpad wants to thank you, our listeners, for your constant support.
Stay tuned for our upcoming seasons, and remember to always
mind your business.